Good afternoon, Daniel. Thank you for taking the time to speak to us at JBB Buzz and Blades.
Good afternoon. Yeah, it's really my pleasure to help you guys out.
Just by way of introduction, Daniel, your final year was 2005. You rode in the first eight, and as part of that team, you went to Amsterdam and represented the school and South Africa, which is great. After that, after some trials, let's just say that much, you went on to represent Gauteng under 18. So congratulations on that. I guess the first question is, what drew you to rowing as a sport?
Well, I rode throughout my high school career, and really enjoyed it. I don't know, it's actually really a tough decision to start with. I really enjoyed swimming. I really enjoyed cricket at primary school. And then a bunch of my mates at primary school were going off to Jeppe the next year and mentioned that there was a rowing camp in the September of my standard 5 or grade 7 year. And that it seemed like a good idea at the time. And I basically loved it ever since. It really was a good idea because by the time I arrived at Jeppe at the start of my grade 8 year, it meant I had a whole lot of friends already made. We had already gone through a half a season of rowing with them all. So yeah, I think brilliant. That's what ultimately drew me to rowing.
Yeah, well, and a lot of people have the same story. When I was at the club, we didn't have that. I wasn't aware of the camp in primary school, but I know that that's something that they're looking to push quite hard going forward as well. So that's really great. So how has your time as a Jeppe oarsman impacted your adult life?
Well, yeah, I mean, they're very formative years of your life, So my time at Jeppe, I thoroughly enjoyed. I really do wish every guy had the opportunity to go to that school. It often made, like I say, a formative year. So it molded me as an adult today, and I learned a lot of life lessons there. Particularly going from a much smaller primary school where everyone was very similar to me. And Jeppe was a very strong melting pot of cultures, very diverse. There are people from all backgrounds. And it opened my eyes up to the world. Actual rowing, well, I suppose I can give you all the stereotypical answers of it. Taught me how to persevere in life, teamwork, all of those things. But in truth, what it really gave me was my friends, Friendships are ultimately built on experiences. And a lot of those experiences were in a rowing boat, rowing for Jeppe. So, yeah, you always keep going back to that. And, most of my friends do come from my Jeppe days still. So, that's probably the biggest thing it's given me.
Excellent. And I too, the people that I knew when I was rowing, I'm still good friends with them now. So I totally agree with you there. So, Daniel, I know that you're familiar with the JBB Buzz and Blades cause, and thank you very much for your generous contributions to date. What are your thoughts about the initiative, and how do you believe we can spread the word and grow the old oarsman community even further?
Well, firstly, very, very well done. I don't know if there's been anything as successful as you guys have done so far. You've raised a phenomenal amount of money, and yes, I don't know really what I can add. What ultimately got me to donate actually was a phone call. So maybe more of those. It's very easy to ignore an email. So I don't know, maybe phone calls either from contemporary oarsmen in the boat to their own contemporaries at the club. Alternatively, get the boys on the line. Make them work for the money as such. But yeah, I must say, you guys have done incredibly well, and I've been following the newsletters quite a bit, and it sounds like you've managed to get some very, very decent boats.
We have, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I can go. As you said, I rode in 2005. I was also part of the first quad, and at the time, this wasn't such a big deal to me because I don't know if it's still the case, but when I rode, the first 8 was the main event, and the 2 subsidiary events were the first 4 and the first quad, which the other 2, the boat split into half to basically do, And exactly the same as now, we did not have very great equipment. And in our first quad race, I firmly believe we actually would have won that race, but we were in a borrowed boat. And with about 700 meters to go, I happened to actually tear the rigger entirely off the shell of the boat. which is very hard to win a quad race with 3 people rowing. So yeah.
Wow.
Like I say, at the time, it didn't worry me too much because we had the main event coming later. But in retrospect, I really firmly believe we could have had a gold medal there if we had decent equipment. Yeah. So what you guys are doing is very close to me.
Excellent. Well, thank you. And you're right there. You know, I think the first 8 is a premier event, but you know, the rest of the club and the rest of the age groups competing in all categories is important, because that raises the well, it means that Jeppe as a school gets onto the podium as well. It's not just the individual races, and it's not just the first 8, but it's actually the whole club in itself winning, being on club podium position, which is really, I think, is critical. So yeah, absolutely. So Daniel, from your time as a Jeppe oarsman, can you tell us about one significant memory that you recall with great fondness?
There are very many, I suppose. I mean, I loved and hated every camp. Really did not enjoy being waking up for midnight swims. I don't know if those are still a thing. And it was a lot of hard work, but once again, time with all your mates, what more could you ask for, you know? Yeah, so those I thoroughly enjoyed. Every regatta I enjoyed, sitting under that tree. Yeah, that was, once again, with your mates in the sun. Fantastic. Looking forward to your race in the afternoon or a little bit later, whatever the case may be. That was fantastic. But I mean, my highlight has got to be our trip to Amsterdam. Yeah, a bunch of 17-year-old guys in Amsterdam with a coach who wasn't much older than us at the time. And yeah, we really just had a fantastic time. So that was my highlight as a schoolboy.
Excellent. Oh, that's brilliant. Well, thank you for sharing that. Daniel, thank you very much for your time. We sincerely appreciate it.
Sure, man. And yeah, thanks for having me on here. It's great to always chat about it.
That's a pleasure, man. For everybody else out there, please go check out our website. That's www.jbbboatsandblades.co.za. And until the next time we meet online or wherever we might meet, keep pulling for gold. Thank you very much.